Sorry about that. Okay, take us further is Mr. Victor Obukomena. And I'll read his bio just so that you have an idea of who he is and what makes him qualified to talk to us about this. For the record, I have known Victor since 2016, and we have grown together, I must say. We have grown together. He is somebody that I can rely on any day. Not so, leave skill aside, he's somebody that I know on a personal level. So he is a digital communications and design consultant at AIG Omukede Foundation, where he works on creative strategies that strengthen storytelling, brand visibility, and stakeholder engagement for initiatives focused on transforming public service delivery across Africa. It's an NGO, and he is a design consultant there. His work bridges creativity and impact using design, content, and strategy to communicate complex ideas in ways that inspire action and drive change. Beyond his work at the foundation, Victor is the founder of Very V Agency, a dynamic digital communications and design firm that helps brands and organizations stand out through innovative storytelling, motion graphics, video editing, and visual design. So he has experience in all the things he's going to be talking about today. He has worked on several projects across notable institutions, including the World Bank, International Finance Corporation, that's IFC, Afrexi Bank, and a few MDAs of the federal government of Nigeria. With a background that blends design thinking, marketing strategy, and leadership development, Victor is passionate about helping organizations communicate with authenticity and excellence in an increasingly digital world. His work reflects a deep belief that creativity and technology, when combined with clear purpose, can reshape how leaders connect with people and deliver results. So, with the nebula, joy, and vibe, help me welcome Victor Obukomena. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As you read it, I was wondering if it was me they were talking about.
It's you.
All right. Thank you so much, Victor. Like Victor said, we've known each other from way back, 2016. It's been almost a decade now. And like he said, we've really grown together. And I am really proud of what he's building here at the Nebula. And I'm excited to be a part of this today. So I know we don't have so much time, and what we want to talk about is really a lot and interesting. And so I'm just going to pull up my screen, share my screen here, and share slides. Just give me a minute here. I'll pull up the slide. Just let me know when you can see that slide. Yep. All right. Okay, so let me know if you can see the screen, and then put it on slideshow.
Yeah, we can see Canva.
All right, so I'm on perfect now, right?
Yes,
right?
Perfect.
All right, great. Thank you so much. So we are talking about the profitable designer, being as a design service provider in an AI age, like the brief introduction that Victor has already given us. AI started with the ChatGPT craze, where we're all asking it questions that will naturally not have to do a little bit of research on other platforms like Google and Bing. And I think that we have come quite a long way from that. And I'm going to discuss how it affects designers. I'm going to talk about the emerging trends that I have noticed and that other people in the space have noticed, and how we can stay profitable in that field. So first of all, I'd like to start by talking about the AI timeline that we are currently in. So where are we in the AI timeline? I think that's more than any technology, you can see that AI has developed pretty fast in comparison to, say, the internet and the other times where we had social media boom like Facebook and Twitter and all of these other platforms came up at certain stage. AI seemed to have taken the world by storm. In terms of a timeline, this year alone, I think I've had the opportunity to work with Google's Nano Banana. So that's one of their image generation platform, and it's been embedded across traditional design work tools like Photoshop, where you could do some things that would naturally be very difficult to do. I was discussing with a senior designer, when I say senior, far back senior designer, someone that has been designing since the 90s. And I was having a chat with him, I think that was last week, and just interviewing him on the changes that he has experienced over his almost 30 years of working in design space. And he mentioned that it's so crazy to see how easy it has become to, for example, and expand your canvas when you're working in design. I know that for a lot of designers, that used to be something that was very difficult to do. So when you import an image, for example, into, say, Photoshop, and you need to add more to that particular image, maybe you wanted to convert it from a square image to a landscape image, you're going to struggle. And when you expand it, you have to do some blending, do some tricks, copy images from other places and add it. But now, just expand and then tell Photoshop what you want to do, and in a few seconds, you have gotten something that is so good and that is almost so true. Even you yourself will struggle to not believe it. So that's like the current place that we find ourselves in the AI space. We find ourselves in a space where there's image generation. So AI is strong with image generation. So platforms like Adobe Firefly, Midjourney, Runway, and so many other platforms have been very good in generating images from text prompts, creating backgrounds, expanding canvases like the example I gave, creating patterns and all of those type of simple tasks that would have been more difficult for the typical day-to-day designer to have done earlier. AI is also very good at photo editing, and I mean, can we just pause for a moment and think of how the image generation has been the biggest sweep of AI, because and I know that that has affected a lot of photography studios. A lot of people don't go to the photography studio as before. Now, based on whatever platform you're using, you can say, oh, it's not that good. But I mean, with Google's Gemini platforms of this year, you are able to get something very decent. I think just this week, I had a task at the office where there was a picture taken of some of our leaders, and the picture wasn't in the right proportion, and they were not looking very proper in that picture. So I took that image, took it to Photoshop Beta, and just gave it a simple prompt. And in a matter of seconds, few iterations, maybe like 2 or 3, I was able to get something very decent. I here struggling and imagining to myself how difficult that would have been to achieve in just like 2 years ago. And this is coming from someone who I started design somewhere around 2014. Photoshop CS6 was just released, and Photoshop CS6 had put out almost all the Corel Draw users out of market. I don't know if anyone here has been designing for that long, but there was a time where if you wanted to remove a person from a background in Corel Draw, you would have to use the shape tool and go around the image. It was a very crazy thing that you had to deal with. But these days, there are so many background removals too. Canva has that. You usually just take that image on the website and tell it to remove the background, and you are done. So you can imagine the place that we are coming from in terms of AI and its capabilities. There are also video generation. I mean, I was testing out Premiere Pro's video generation ability. So Premiere Pro has this ability where you could say you recorded a clip for 10 seconds, but you needed it to just go for more than 10 seconds. You needed it to go for like 15 seconds. You can extend that video clip. And this is not just, this will work even with a human being inside the clip. You would extend the clip and it will add a few seconds to what you originally had. So that's the timeline that we are currently living in. And I think that one of the things that has been hardest to accept is how is this going to affect the day-to-day designer? Is this going to affect us negatively? Is this going to affect us positively? And when you go online, maybe on a YouTube channel, to hear people's opinion, I mean, you hear all sorts of opinion. A lot of people are fighting against AI. A lot of people, on the other hand, want AI to stay. And so it's really been a battle. And another thing that has been of personal concern to me has been the fact that if you have labored to learn maybe a Photoshop or a Corel Draw, and then you are now realizing that all the years that you have spent learning how to do selections, for example, just to remove a background from an image, you now realize that you really don't need that knowledge again. There's a way you feel because you feel like you invested so much effort, and now that effort seems to have gone down the drain. And it's a call to shift the perspective, or shift your perspective from just efforts to value. So that's something that we need to really start thinking about when we are talking of design. So I'm just going to move on now to our next slide. We've covered all of this in our timeline summary. We said that we're well into a generative AI era. AI is no longer just assisting with small tasks. It's being deeply embedded into creative software. We're not yet at the place of full automation or replacement, all right? So that's something important to note. So when you come face to face with the thought of, is AI replacing your job? At the moment, not necessarily. AI is still functioning as a partner. But this is the thing. AI is now able to help you develop and do things faster. So the hours that you would have spent compositing an image, you can just, via prompts, make a few prompts, and then you will have that in a few seconds. And I read an article somewhere where the person said that it is not necessarily AI taking your job, but the person who knows how to use prompts. That's the person taking your job. Now, so it means that if you're going to survive as a designer, you have to go away from only just knowing how to use the tools. You have to become a person that knows a little bit more of so many other things. And we're going to dive into what those things are as we go along in our session today. So moving on, let's talk about some of the emerging AI trends that directly affect designers. So I just did a few research, and some of the biggest AI trends in 2025 that are relevant for graphic designers. Number one is agentic AI and autonomous design agents. I don't know if everyone here knows what agentic AI means, but agentic AI basically means giving AI a task and letting it do not just one step. So your typical conversation with, say, ChatGPT, for example, will be, okay, generate me a copy for this design, and AI will just output that particular copy for you. But with agentic AI, you're able to move 3, 4, 5, 6, even 12 steps ahead. And from a simple prompt or from a system that you have built, you give it one task and it's able to take, for example, your design and resize it to something for social media, maybe in square format, something for your YouTube channel, maybe in a landscape format, and then just replicate it across different platforms for you. And then some AI can even go to the point of helping you post on your social media if you give them the access to do that. So we're beginning to see a place where AI agents perform multi-step tasks with a degree of autonomy and not just one of generation. So examples are agents that can brainstorm mood boards, generate layouts for you, write micro copy, and iterate all in a single flow from one single prompt. So that's something that we're beginning to see. We're beginning to see AI being used in motion design. And for me, this one, I think when I first saw that AI could now be used in motion design, I think I felt hot a bit. And why I say so is I remember the amount of sleepless nights I spent learning After Effects. Now, it doesn't mean that that information or that learning is no longer relevant, but just seeing the fact that we have now lowered the bar for use of entry, people are able to do these things more easily. You can go to Canva and do a simple animation within minutes. You can go to, I think there's another one, Hera, that I was testing out the other day. And apart from being able to generate stock videos, you can actually just write a very decent prompt and tell it to animate like a chart for you. Upload a chart that you wanted to animate, and it will do a very nice job of animating that chart. Whereas if you were to do that in your After Effects, if you don't spend the whole night working on it, you probably won't get something good. So, but that's how AI is beginning to reshape the trends in motion design. Then we're also seeing AI in 3D design with the rise of AI being able to generate 3D designs, generate environments. So people who do a lot of architectural drawings, for people who do a lot of interior decorations and drawings for houses, interior decorations for houses, you're beginning to see AI being able to do that very easily. I think there's one app I saw the other day that you would take a picture of your room and send it to AI to remodel in a few minutes, and it will give you concise materials that it thinks will fit into that room. So we're beginning to see all of that rise. And then we're beginning to see real-time testing and being able to get feedback from AI. So AI is starting to provide real-time creative feedback. Some tools can analyze which designs or variations resonate better, and then even do testing. And this is very important if you are in the marketing space, for example, and you want to test out a marketing campaign and say, okay, you have design A, design B, which one would give you a better output? So we're seeing a lot of that happen already. So these are some of the crazy trends already happening in AI, and I know that they are actually shocking. So I think that agentic AI is going to present a huge opportunity for designers, and I don't think it should be considered as a threat. We're going to talk about what you should do as a designer to position yourself as someone more valuable. I think that one of the takeaway from all of this that we've discussed thus far is that AI isn't trying to replace you as a designer. It's trying to, you should see AI as a tool that will remove the drudgery, that will amplify your creativity and make space for more strategic thinking. And strategy is something that I know AI cannot do yet. So that's something that you have to start working on. I think that the new or upcoming designer now should be very focused on understanding not just tools. That's the key. Don't just struggle to understand tools, struggle to understand the foundations of design. So simple things as proper layouts, how best to lay out a lot of information on a one-page design, how best to lay out. I mean, when you go to platforms like Pinterest and all these other platforms like Dribble, where you usually will take your mood boards or take inspiration from when you're working on design. You don't want to just be looking at how beautiful the design is. You want to understand what principles of design were applied when working on this design. So things like contrast, color usage, color psychology, all of those things are the places where human beings will now become very, very, very strategic. Because as of this point, AI is not able to feel what your, for example, say your CEO in your organization needs. So, for example, you could push out a design. You can tell AI to work on a design for you, and it does not know that your CEO does not like blue. So that's where the human being is very, very crucial to working in design. I feel like a lot of times what I feel like is that people who are just starting out with AI advancing so fast may struggle to enter into the field. But that's where it's now going to differentiate between those who are really creatives and who have done the assignment of studying and learning the foundations and principles of design, and separates those people from those who are just doing it to hustle or who are just doing it to make ends meet. And so if you're going to stay and play in this field, you're going to have to make sure that you up your game in terms of learning, in terms of understanding principles and understanding why colors work and all of those other factors. So let me talk about the things that I think AI cannot do. All right, you can see I put here what AI still can't do and probably won't do by 2030. All right, so number one, I think that is important is deep strategic and business understanding. So at the moment, I mean, I have seen that play out even when I'm working on things like a branding project for a client, and I have to say that um, these large language models are really helpful in copywriting, in microcopy, in ideation. That's something they're very good at. And you would see, I think for me, for example, if I'm working on a branding project for a client, it will typically take me a month to do. But I think it was just last week here, I sat down and in 2 days, I was done with a branding project from almost from start to finish for a client. So that's the kind of change that we're beginning to notice happen. So I already had a few sketches I wanted to use for the client's logo, and I had had some back and forth with a few friends in the design space on what they thought my work, and then I went did the design, and then when I took those concepts, I just sent them to ChatGPT and said, okay, express a story from this logo. I was able to give you something that when you sit down and look at it, oh, this actually makes sense. Then maybe you refine it just a little bit. And then you can put up a document that usually would have taken you a week to pull together. You would have pulled it up in 1 hour. That's the mindset shift that AI is helping us achieve. So, but there is something that you always notice is that when you I mean, we've all heard of this thing called AI hallucination. So when we put out all of these things and AI is giving you some bit of should I call it trash? What happens there is that if you are now an experienced designer or a strategic designer, you are able to look at that AI and tell it, I don't think you got this right. This is what this company is doing, and you're able to provide it context, right? That's where the human being comes in, and that's strategy and business understanding. There is always that human context that only a human is able to provide to any situation. And I've always believed that design is not just about creating something aesthetically pleasing. It's actually about solving a problem for your clients. So your client has a problem. His logo is not appealing to his target audience. Why Then he comes to you and wants you to do something that he feels will appeal to his client. Now you have some few years in art history, you've done some branding before, you know what works, you understand the industry that your client is in. So that's why, for example, you see that a lot of food companies are always using the colors red and yellow. That's human psychology. You see that red and yellow will create that desire for hunger and passion. And that's why you see Chicken Republic, McDonald's, a lot of all these big fast foods, we use those colors in their logos. You understand that. The AI doesn't necessarily understand that. And you are able to provide that context. And that's where you will find your value when you are working with AI. Again, there's also human empathy and emotional insights. All right, so AI cannot empathize, does not understand culture, and that's something big. So, I mean, I've done this image generations where you are using it for a Nigerian context, for example, and AI is giving you somebody that is from another country. All right, so the point there is to you now know and say, okay, no, this will not work. And that's where the human being is important. The human has cultural context. You know, okay, for example, your campaign is to children and AI is giving you adults inside that particular campaign. You already know that that image will not work. And that's where the human is still very, very important. And then you also have non-linear creative co-design. What I mean here is typically the way design works is sometimes we have what we call shared experiences. Many times the reason why you come up with a particular concept from a design is because of something you saw when you were walking on the streets. AI does not have that context, or is not able to connect that thing he saw on the streets to this particular design and infuse that into his work. So, but you are able to do that as a human designer, all right? And that's something that AI for now will not be able to do, all right? So you will see that most of the time AI follows a linear reasoning pattern, but human beings were able to think into that direction and think into this other box, and that's something that is interesting for the human being. And then, of course, you have originality and authentic creativity. So at the moment, you've heard a lot of people say that AI does not really bring any original ideas, and I really agree with that. If you don't feed the AI the data, the AI is not able to create the thing that you're looking for. So, but the human being is able to wake up and out of the blues pull a number of things together. And so as you grow in your career, you want to make sure that you work on your originality. And don't get the wrong idea of originality not being able to copy from others. Because there's a book in the design world called Still Like an Artist, and it expresses the idea that they are not necessarily original ideas. But what a creative person is able to do is able to take different learnings from different places and bring it together into one creative, into one system, into one process, or into one workflow. So that's the power that you still have as a human being. All right. So I think that one thing that we should see is that AI is meant to be a collaborator. AI is not necessarily a replacement as of now. But you have to now work harder on yourself and do better than AI, the things that AI is good at just doing randomly. So I think that that's something to think about. Before I go into this next slide on the key skills and mindsets to cultivate, can I pause and make sure that everyone is following me? Victor will be taking questions after this session, right? Let me just be sure that everyone's following me, because I can't see anybody. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Yes. We're taking questions when you're done.
All right. Okay, great. I hope everyone is following me. Does my conversation make sense thus far? Let's see if I can get some comments from people.
A lot of emojis are going up.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So let's talk about key skills and mindsets to cultivate um, in this AI-driven world. And then we'll talk about how to scale your business and make more income using AI. Just give me a minute. So number one on the list is AI literacy and prompting. I had said something that I read from an article that is not necessarily AI that will replace you. It's is the person who knows how to prompt. I know some people say that prompt engineering is gone, but I think it's still relevant because you have to be able to give accurate context to what you want to do. And one of the things that I've learned recently is that, and that's something I apply frequently now, is being able to take your idea. Maybe you're not able to express your thoughts fully, but whatever you can express, I take it to like a ChatGPT or a Gemini or a Grok and tell it to take these my ideas and give me a prompt that I will then use on another AI platform. So that's something that I find myself doing a lot. So I think that if you're going to survive as a designer in this AI age, you have to understand prompting very, very seriously. And you also have to gain AI literacy, understand what the new AI trends are, and all of those things. Storytelling and human empathy is also something that you have to become good at. I've often said that a good designer doesn't just do only one thing. A good designer is able to tell a story, and this is usually what I've learned and what I've seen from experience is that the major difference between the designers that get paid the most and the designers who just do the job many times is the ability for those designers to be able to convince their clients that they understand the client's problem and that what they are providing is the perfect solution to their client's problem. And I say this because I heard the story of, and I think it was Steve Jobs that said the story himself. He was speaking about, I think it was Paul Allen, if I remember. Paul Allen is one of the, I think it was called one of the fathers of design. I don't know if it's Paul Allen. I'm sure of that name. I remember. And he talked about how he designed the logo Next Gen. I think it was for one of Steve Jobs' company. And when he came in, Steve Jobs was like, "Oh, we need you to do the logo for our brand. We need you to do several variations." And he told Steve that no, I'm not going to do several variations for you. I can see the problem that your company is having, and I believe I'm able to provide a solution to it. And you don't have to accept it. But when I end up doing this solution, I think it will be the best solution for your company. And he did it. And I mean, being able to speak in that manner, first of all, has placed him above 70% of other designers who will just take the tax, go and do like 10 options of a logo, and then send back to the client. And you're not able to provide any story as to why you did that logo, as to why you did that, chose those particular colors as your reasoning. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever heard the story of this is very interesting, just to still drive home the point. I think it was Pepsi that rebranded their logo for $1 million. The story is all over the place. It's an old story now. And when you look at that logo rebrand, there was just a very minute change in the logo that they paid $1 million for. But what they did was that they published an almost 200-page document that explained how the logo connected to the orbit of the Earth, connected to the golden ratios, and just a lot of, some people will call it jargon, but being able to tell stories it's a very, very important skill that you need to develop as a designer. I know most people in design space don't want to talk, don't want to communicate, don't want to explain to other people what their thinking is. But if you're going to survive in this newer age, you need to be able to tell your clients what you bring to the table that AI does not bring to the table. Because your clients in today's world can just go to ChatGPT and say, give me a logo for my brand. All right. That's literally the world that we're in. And if they feel that, oh, they like the logo, then why do they need you? And that's where developing skills in storytelling and human empathy is important. Systemic and strategic thinking is also critical. Then critical judgments and decision making. Because when you see sometimes that the outputs, when you see some of the outputs that AI brings, a lot of times they are not perfect. They are not perfect. And that's why storytelling is also important. I've realized I've worked with several types of clients. There are some clients that are very easygoing and they will accept almost anything you give to them. While there are some clients that are very hard-headed and you need to be able to convince them why you think that what you have done should work for them. So collaboration skills is also very important. So here I've said that the designer of the future in an AI age is a hybrid thinker, part creative, part strategist, part systems orchestrator. So I recommend that you go and learn more about brand strategy and brand thinking. That's something to also build yourself on. All right, so let's just move on. I know we are almost running out of time. Right. I know we're almost running out of time. Give me a minute. I thought I saw a message important. Okay, so let's talk about leveraging AI to remain profitable. Sorry about that. Just give me a minute. All right, so first thing here, you want to leverage efficiency gains to scale capacity. So I saw a report the other day that about 78% of designers that took that particular survey reported that AI has improved their delivery rates by about 50 to 70% thereabouts. So what they would have done in 2 hours, they're able to do in 2 minutes. So if you're going to remain profitable, you have to use generative AI to automate routine tasks that will need you to spend a lot of time before you can actually just leverage AI to do that. Then optimize your workflow with AI. So using tools like Adobe Firefly, Photoshop generative features will dramatically speed up your tasks. All right, so that's very, very important. Again, you want to optimize your workflow with AI. Like I said, there was a statistics that's according to IBM, embedding generative AI into workflows can improve productivity significantly, helping to unlock innovation at scale. So you should use AI for ideation. You should use it for rough drafts, especially if you're in the user experience part of the workflow. Use it for early mockups. I found a particular platform. I think it was elements.envato.com. I was doing a project recently, and I don't know if many of you that do anything with branding, one of the difficult parts after doing your branding is to start generating all the mockups that the brand needs for the design and then presenting it to the clients. And so that can be a lot. I found out a site where you can just upload your logo. I think it's a mockup gen on Envato, and you just describe the kind of mockup you want, and it will give you the mockup and place your logo right where you need it to be. And if it's not correct, you can just edit it. So all of those type of things will improve your speed. So if you're able to improve your speed, what happens is that you're not able to take more, because you're going to keep having the battle of people telling you, if you can do this with AI, why am I paying this amount of money? That's going to be a problem. So if you can take in more tax and do them at a faster rate, then you are able to generate more income for yourself. Number two is build scalable recurring revenue models. And I think one of the models that works very well for designer and really offers a lot of value to your clients is the subscription slash retainer based service. So you are going to ask your clients to pay like a monthly fee, and then you are working with AI to really output. Is that my timer? Is that timer for me?
Yep.
Okay. So I should be wrapping up. Okay, so I mean, I think that we're at a good place. But I just wanted to say, build scalable recurring revenue models, offer high value strategic services, and that's very, very important. Don't just present yourself as, oh, I can help you do this flyer for 10,000 naira. Explain to the clients why that flyer will drive sales in their business. So connect it to the value that is going to achieve for your clients. And of course, keep upskilling in AI, because we are living in a very fast changing time, and you want to make sure that you are keeping up with the time, keep learning, and be willing to invest your funds in AI, please, because it's literally the future. I read a report too that about $13.9 billion has been invested in AI, I think, generative AI models, and so something like that. So I think I was almost right on point on time, right? Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
So
you very so much,
yeah,
Mr. Victor.
thank
Thank
you
you
too.
for showing us the side we should be focusing on now. And from everything you said, there are
Yeah.
two things I just want to hammer on. And
Mm,
I want to say from a practical perspective now. See, guys, and this event is not just for graphic or video designer, including UI UX designers.
yeah.
Guys, as a CEO, as a business owner, I have in my head when I want to give a job to somebody, I am usually thinking, based on what I want to do, who is the person that can give me the best thing? Not who is the best designer, but who
Yeah.
is it that has fashioned his business in such a way that whenever I am thinking of anything children, this person can give me the best. Or if it is something corporate I want to design, this person will give me the best. What I am saying is fashion your business such that people know what you represent and what you are good at. That way, it will be so easy for them to remember you when they have
Mm,
stuff.
mm,
There are some people, UI designers, once I give them work, I already know that I am expecting something that will have a dull design. Not necessarily dull, but darker shades of colors. That is their niche. It's not bad, but that is what they are good at. There are kinds of designs I need, and I know that this person will give this guy that he knows how to work with dark colors. He will give me the best. There are some other guys, bright colors, white, very minimalistic. I already know them. So build a personal creative identity. That is the summary of what I'm saying. That will really help you to go far in this our world of AI. Of course, he has already said so many things on how you use AI, so I don't even want to go in that direction. But as a CEO, as someone who hires people a lot, I am telling you the things that I look for when I'm working with people. The second and the last thing I want to say, I'll still talk about it, but the second and last thing I want to say is he has already mentioned it, but I really want to hammer on this. Sell outcomes, not tasks
mm,
of God. I don't need a human being to do a logo for me today. The only reason why I will get a human being is because he is not just telling me I will do this logo for you. He's showing me how much visibility this logo can give the brand. He's showing me how much growth this logo can give the brand. He's showing me why using this logo instead of another one is going to make the business make more money. That is what I am looking for. So, sell outcomes. When you are pitching, you are talking about the work you're supposed to do with your client. Whenever he's talking about the task, always shift the conversation from task to outcome. As he's talking about, I want the logo to have this thing here and that thing over there, and let the mouth of the lion be wide. As he's saying that, find a way to bring the conversation back to outcome, because that is the only way you will win the argument. Because once you are trying to tell him, no, the mouth should be a little bit more closed, he will just tell you, don't worry. You go and prompt AI to close the mouth. You get my point? So don't focus your conversations when you're talking with clients on the task itself. Always move it out to the outcome. That is the thing AI cannot do. AI cannot bring the market. Those are things I don't know when AI will be able to get those things done. But for now, shift your conversations from task to outcome. Talk about conversion, talk about engagement, talk about growth, talk about visibility. That is the purpose of the flyer. It's not how nice the design is. It is how much market will this flyer bring to me. That's what the business owner is concerned about. Yes, thank you, Mr. Victor. You said everything I just said. I just need to hammer on it because those are the things that I see when I see designers talking the way they talk. It used to pay me like, guys, we have left this area. Let's talk about the reason that brings in the money. Yes. Okay. Who has questions? Who has questions? Who has questions? Anybody with questions, you can unmute and speak. Okay. It turns out that there is no question, and Mr. Victor really he explained. He gave us background. So even if you are in this session and you don't know how much AI has grown, okay, seems to have one question, but even if you don't know how much AI has grown, he has told us where AI is currently, where AI is going, and where you should place yourself currently. So thank you, Mr. Victor. It has been a really helpful session. Chukudi, your question, please.
Oh, yes. Good evening. First, thank you for the opportunity, like organizing this session. So the question I'm also like I want to ask is, you said we should focus on what impacts that our work will give. I understand. I understand that that's very important. That okay, what's the impact this work will do for us? But at the same time, I've also seen people like we do talk a lot and we don't get the things done. And also there's another scenario whereby we can just say, okay, go and do these things, go and do this thing. We have not known what we are expecting outside there. So it's better like for us to just push this thing first, then we see the outcome. So I'm asking now, in what way can we affect that aspect so that we won't just be talking out and we won't just be let's say, okay, go and do this, go and do this thing. How are we going to make it that okay, this is the outcome that we are expecting from outside based on our talks, presentations, and everything? Thank you.
Okay, so should I jump in and answer? Okay, so Chukudi, thank you for that question. I wish I could get more clarity, but I'm going to assume that I'm going to assume what you mean and say that I think that as a designer, you first need to get clear communication from your clients or from whoever you're working for, because clarity is the key to delivering the right outcome. So if, for example, a client asks you about doing a particular logo or branding for them, you want to ask them, what are you trying to achieve? For example, there's a form I usually use, a jot form, that pushes the client to document the things that he wants. On the other part of tax, I think that that's a personality matter, because you have to be good at delivering on what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to deliver a certain tax, then go ahead and get it done. So I think that's how I'm going to answer your question. But if you think I did not understand the full spectrum, you can please speak up and clarify what you mean.
Well, you said some parts about it, But
Okay.
the stuff what I'm trying to communicate is, you said, for instance, now you said I should go and do something as my boss or coordinator.
Okay.
And why you were telling me to tell you to go and do this stuff, and I'm not telling you that okay, no, let's what and I'm not telling you that okay, what about outside? What's the revenue this thing is going to bring for us, bring to us rather, and what's the impact it's going to bring to, instead of me getting the job done for us, then we push it outside there. They know okay, this thing it works or it doesn't work. I guess that's the way business people normally test the models. So if although I'm not saying it's not good to to defend what you're doing, it's very good to defend. Okay, tell me the impact and stuff like that. But we should first get the things done and see the outcome that it will have at the impact, or then we start changing the model. I guess that still works.
Yes. Okay. I think I get more clarity into what you mean. So yes, when, for example, I give you a task to do, all right, there are certain nuances. So if you communicate to me that, oh, and I mean, when you are communicating that to me, you're usually communicating it to me based on, oh, you want to charge me this. That's why I'm telling you this, all right? And that's usually where you have those kind of conversations. I am going to do this logo for you, but I'm going to charge you, say, $10,000. And the reason I'm charging you $10,000 is because it's going to do this. If the person is clear on what he wants and you have both agreed on the price, then you are good to go. And then you can go ahead and do the tax, and then we can test it. But if you are just, I don't know if that makes sense. If we are just having a conversation, it's not like a back and forth. So maybe, for example, you are working within a company and they just assign a tax to you. You already have a prearranged agreement on what that tax was going to cost in the first place. But I'm talking, our explanation is really, for example, if, for example, you're freelancing or you're working with an external client and you're trying to pitch an idea to a client and tell the client that you want to do this particular thing for the client, and this is why the client will need to pay this amount of money to have that result he wants. That's when you bring up this kind of conversation. Inshallah, do you want to say something on that?
Yeah, I think this second part you said
Yes.
is what I think he needed to hear. It's about
Yeah.
selling.
Yes, yes, that's the point actually, because I guess this aspect only focus on freelancers. It doesn't focus on okay, company workers, or you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
But thank God he
Yes.
has already said it. I just want it for clarification purpose. Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, so to add based on what this last thing you just said, it
Mm.
actually still applies to even company workers because you are already working, it's not like you are negotiating money anymore. But you want to ensure that your value, how they see you at the company, is still up here. So,
Exactly.
assuming you are 3 designers, but whenever you bring your own design, they usually get better results from it. Who do you think the day they are looking for who to sack? Who do you think they will sack last? It's
You.
you they will sack last after they've sacked every other person, assuming they have to sack everybody, right?
Mm.
So, as you are growing in your design sense and in your use of AI, still be telling yourself, how do I learn more about the designs that convert more, the designs
Mm.
that appeal to customers more, so that my boss gets more results from it? So it still is in line, still focus on the outcome of your design rather than knowing to being the best person, the person who knows how to use the best prompts to bring out the best fine design. It's not about
Mm.
fine design anymore. It's about designs that do the job.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other question before we wrap it up? It's 8:01. We are 1 minute late. I usually like that we close this meeting at exactly 8 o'clock. So thank you
Yeah.
guys. I want to use 1 more minute to talk about the nebula. The nebula is what we do at the nebula is to solve the problem of developers who don't finish work. This is, I'm assuming I'm talking to people who build things, who are business owners, who require automation in their businesses. The one big problem that they have is when they contact the developer to do something, the developer will start asking for extra money, start not picking calls, or delay the work till he's tired and look for someone else. That's the problem we've come to solve. And you will notice that even in the way we execute our projects, there is that element in it. So if you have projects and you're looking for an organization to work with, the Nebula is the organization to work with. If you are also a person who has any form of skill, at the Nebula, we work with all sorts of people, all sorts. I can see many of my guys here. Uluwatosin, it's been a while. Oh, good to see you. So we work with all sorts of people. As a matter of fact, right now we're even doing physical things. Like if you have an event and you want a team to come and manage everything from the screens to the streaming we work with physical people in that location, and with our partners who go there, set up your event venue and everything from start to finish. So the goal is to get as many people to do the work that needs to be done, and in total, we are helping our country. Me, I have told all of you, if you are close to me, you know that I'm not leaving Nigeria anytime soon. If I travel, I'm just going to flex and come back. I'm not japping for any reason, because Nigeria is a great country, and everything I do is to build Nigeria and the people in Nigeria. So thank you guys. Thanks everyone for joining this session. Look forward